Hi, so in today's video I'll show you how to expand any type of bracket which you need to know for GCSE, and you can basically use those to apply to any other, but those are the fundamentals as you should know them. So any of the type on the screen you should be able to do by the end of the video. So let's begin with the first one. So here's the first one. No matter how many brackets or how many different variables are inside the brackets, you should always be able to use the same technique and apply it to your question. So here it is. Firstly, you take the first variable, and times it by the first of the next fraction. In this case, x times x will be x squared. Following the same process, you do the first times the second now, which would be minus 2x in this case. Then you follow the same with the other one, so you do 1 times the next times the fraction again. So you do 1 times x, which is just x. Then you do 1 times minus 2, which is minus 2. Then finally you can collect the terms, the like terms, as this and this can be simplified to this instead, as there's an imaginary one here. So this is the final. So here's the second one. That should be generally easier as it's only plus and plus. Hence, you shouldn't worry about the signs, as if it's a minus, it becomes more complicated. So using the same technique, times in the first one, times the second, that will be x squared. Doing the same with the second term, that will give us 4x. Now, again, with the second term, doing the same thing, that will be 3x, and then 3 times 4 will be plus 12. Then finally, we can collect the like terms, in this case, those two. This will result in the final answer being 7x plus 12. So this is the right answer. Here's the third one. That's perhaps the most difficult one, as you should be cautious of the signs, as minus and minus can turn into plus, and minus plus plus can equal minus. So you should be careful of that. So using the same technique, you first do the first term times the second term of the second fraction, which in this case is again x squared. Then following the same process, x times minus 2, that will be minus 2x. Here, minus 4 times x will be minus 4x. And finally, here's where we should be cautious, as minus 4 times minus 2 will be plus 8. This is because when you times a minus times a minus, the minus cancels, which will result in a positive number. So you should be careful of that. However, we continue with that by collecting the terms, the like terms, which is minus 2x and minus 4x. Hence, this will result in a x squared minus 6x plus 8. So this is the final answer. But again, be cautious with the signs, as minus times a minus equals a positive. That should be a fundamental knowledge, so just keep practicing with it. And lastly, here's the last question, which is possibly the most confusing one. The students find the most confusing, at least, as it has different first like terms, which students find confusing, although you should always follow the same process and it should give you the right answer. As well as that, there's a minus and there's a plus, which students find confusing again. So following the same process, we just do x times y, which equals xy. Then x times minus 2, which is minus 2x. Then minus 1, plus 1 times y, which is just y simply, as there's an imaginary 1, but you shouldn't be bothered to write it, as it's obvious. And lastly, 1 times minus 2, which is minus 2. Here, we should collect the like terms, and there's none actually. So that would be the right answer, as those two are like. So yeah, you should get this. And that's probably the most difficult one you will get in a GCSE exam. So if you're able to do those, you should be confident enough to get above a 7 at least. So thank you so much for watching. Here are some practice questions in case you want to practice. And if you're able to do those, you should really be confident with the other skills. That's probably one of the most confusing parts the student finds. Although it's not even difficult as long as you follow the same technique and method. But yeah, so here's the answers.